Lakers Nation, listen up. Welcome back to Lakers News Fan Report, your #1 destination for all the latest updates, breaking news, and exclusive analysis on our beloved Los Angeles Lakers. I'm here to bring you everything you need to know about the purple and gold, from roster developments to game breakdowns. And today I've got some crucial information that every Lakers fan needs to hear about the current state of our team. Before we get into it, let me paint a picture for you. Imagine you're watching a game. Everything is clicking. The team is flowing beautifully on both ends of the floor. And then suddenly, in an instant, everything changes. One play, one moment, and you're left holding your breath, wondering what just happened and what it means for the rest of the season. That's the reality of NBA basketball, where the margin between success and setback can be razor thin. This season has been a journey of discovery for the Lakers. We've seen new faces integrate into the system. We've watched J.J. Redick implement his vision as head coach. And we've witnessed this team find its identity game by game. There have been moments of brilliance, performances that remind us why we believe this team can compete with anyone in the Western Conference. And there have also been challenges, obstacles that test the depth and resilience of this roster. One of the most significant additions to this Lakers team has been a player who arrived with a specific mission, a clear role to fill in J.J. Redick's system. When the front office made moves during the offseason, they had a vision for how this roster would operate. They understood that to maximize the talents of their superstar players, to give Luka Doncic the support he needs to dominate games, they needed to address a critical position. They needed a presence in the paint, someone who could control the interior, someone who could be both a defensive anchor and an offensive weapon in the pick and roll. The search for that player led them to a big man with an impressive pedigree, someone who had proven himself at the highest levels of college basketball before making his mark in the NBA. This is a player who knows what it takes to compete at an elite level, who has the physical tools to dominate in the post, and who brings a skill set that perfectly complements what the Lakers were trying to build. When the signing was announced, there was genuine excitement among the fan base because everyone could see how the pieces would fit together. And through the early portion of this season, those expectations have been exceeded. We're talking about a player who has been delivering exactly what the Lakers hoped for, and then some. The production has been impressive across the board. The kind of consistent excellence that makes everything easier for everyone else on the floor. When you have a big man who can finish around the rim with authority, who commands attention from opposing defenses, who creates opportunities for teammates simply by being on the court, it transforms your entire offensive approach. Let me break down the numbers because they tell a compelling story. We're looking at a player averaging 15.5 points per game, which might not sound earth-shattering until you consider the efficiency. 8.4 rebounds per contest, showing he's doing the dirty work on the glass, competing for every possession. But here's where it gets really impressive. 69.6% shooting from the field. That's not a typo. Nearly 70% from the field. That kind of efficiency is elite by any standard. And it speaks to the quality of shots this player is getting and his ability to convert those opportunities. What makes these numbers even more valuable is the context of how they're being generated. This isn't a player camping out on the perimeter, taking open threes. This is old school, physical, low-post basketball. This is a talented bruiser who can establish position, seal his defender, and finish through contact. In today's NBA, where so much emphasis is placed on three-point shooting and spacing, having a dominant interior presence is actually a strategic advantage. Defenses have to adjust, they have to commit help, and that creates opportunities everywhere else on the floor. The pick-and-roll partnership with Luka Doncic has been particularly effective. When you have a point guard with Luka's vision and passing ability paired with a big man who can roll hard to the rim and finish above it, you create one of the most difficult actions in basketball to defend. Defenses have to make impossible choices. Do you stay with the roller and give Luka an open shot? Do you help on Luka and leave the big man with a clear path to the basket? There's no good answer. And that's exactly what makes great offensive basketball. But then came Sunday's game against the Utah Jazz, and everything changed in an instant. 30 minutes into what had been a solid performance, disaster struck. An unlucky knee injury forced our big man out of the game. And suddenly the Lakers were facing a reality they hadn't had to confront yet this season. What does this team look like without this critical piece of their puzzle? The immediate reaction was concern. Knee injuries are always scary in basketball. We've seen too many careers affected, too many seasons derailed by knee problems. And when a player who has been this important to your team's success goes down, you can't help but think about worst-case scenarios. The what-ifs start flooding your mind. What if it's serious? What if he's out for an extended period? What if the Lakers have to navigate a significant stretch without their starting center? Tuesday night's NBA Cup matchup against the Los Angeles Clippers arrived, and our fears seemed confirmed when the injury report came out. Our big man was listed as out due to a lower body setback, and the Lakers would have to face their crosstown rivals without one of their most important players. The Clippers game is always intense, always competitive, and facing them shorthanded added another layer of difficulty to an already challenging contest. But here's where the story takes a positive turn, and this is exactly the kind of news that Lakers Nation needs to hear right now. J.J. Redick, our head coach, who has been nothing but transparent and straightforward with injury updates all season, provided crucial information about the status of our injured center. And what he had to say should put all of our minds at ease. I'm talking about Deandre Ayton, the former Arizona standout who the Lakers signed in free agency to be that starting caliber center. That above-average pick-and-roll partner for Luka Doncic, the player who has been delivering exactly what was promised with his 15.5 points and 8.4 rebounds per game on that ridiculous 69.6% shooting. Ayton went down against Utah, missed the Clippers game, and Lakers fans everywhere were holding their collective breath waiting for news. According to Coach Redick. And this comes directly from his media availability on Tuesday. Ayton underwent an MRI to determine the extent of the knee injury. And here's the crucial part that every Lakers fan needs to understand. The MRI showed some swelling and a little bit of a bruise, but nothing structural, nothing that requires extended time away from the court. This is the best case scenario given the circumstances. We're not talking about ligament damage. We're not discussing surgical options. We're simply dealing with swelling and bruising that will heal with time and proper treatment. Even better, Coach Redick went on to say that he expects Ayton back sometime in the next week. Let me repeat that because it's so important. Within the next week. We're not talking about weeks or months. We're talking about a short-term absence, the kind of minor setback that every team deals with over the course of an 82-game season. Ayton will miss a few games. The medical staff will make sure the swelling goes down and he's fully ready to return. And then he'll be back out there doing what he does best. This news is massive for several reasons. First, and most obviously, it means the Lakers won't have to significantly adjust their rotation or their strategic approach for an extended period. Ayton has been such an integral part of what makes this team successful that losing him for a long stretch would have required major changes to how the Lakers operate on both ends of the floor. Now, instead of making those drastic adjustments, the coaching staff just needs to manage a brief period without their starting center. Second, and this is crucial for the long-term health of the season, Ayton will have time to fully recover without feeling rushed back to action. One of the worst things that can happen with injuries is when players return too quickly, before they're truly ready, and either re-injure themselves or compensate in ways that lead to other problems. With the timeline Coach Redick outlined, there's no pressure to rush Ayton back. The medical staff can be thorough. They can make sure he's 100%. And when he does return, he'll be fully prepared to resume his role. Now, let's talk about what happened in Ayton's absence against the Clippers, because it's actually a positive story that speaks to the depth of this Lakers roster. Jackson Hayes, the former Texas standout who has been a backup center for the Lakers, stepped into expanded minutes and delivered a solid performance. Hayes finished with 8 points and 4 rebounds while shooting 75% from the field. And his energy and activity were key factors in the Lakers earning a hard-fought 17-point victory. Give credit where it's due. Hayes showed up when his team needed him. He played with confidence. He made the most of his opportunity. And he helped the Lakers secure an important win in the NBA Cup. That kind of performance from your backup center is exactly what you need to navigate the inevitable injuries and absences that occur over a long season. It's validation of the roster construction, proof that the Lakers have capable players throughout their rotation who can step up when called upon. However, and I think every Lakers fan understands this, Hayes providing solid backup minutes is different from having Deandre Ayton anchoring your front court for 30-plus minutes a night. Ayton's combination of size, skill, and efficiency is unique on this roster. His ability to dominate in the low post, to finish at nearly 70% from the field, to be that reliable pick-and-roll partner for Luka, these are things that can't easily be replaced even by a capable backup. Looking at the bigger picture, Ayton's health is absolutely pivotal to the Lakers' championship aspiration. We all remember what happened in previous seasons when the Lakers advanced to the playoffs but couldn't get past the first round. One of the consistent issues was the lack of a dominant interior presence, someone who could match up with the elite big men that other contending teams possess. Ayton was brought in specifically to address that weakness, to give the Lakers the kind of front-court anchor they need to compete in 7-game playoff series. Think about the Western Conference landscape. You've got teams with formidable big men, teams that will try to exploit any weakness in the paint. The Lakers need Ayton healthy and playing at his best to have a legitimate chance of advancing deep into the playoffs. His ability to control the interior on both ends, to provide efficient scoring and rebounding, to be a physical presence that opponents have to account for, all of that becomes exponentially more important in the postseason when possessions are at a premium and matchups are magnified. The good news is that we're still relatively early in. It's November. We're not even at the quarter mark of the campaign yet, and the Lakers have time to get fully healthy and build chemistry. Ayton missing a week now, while certainly not ideal, is infinitely better than dealing with a more serious injury later in the season or having something linger that becomes a problem in the playoffs. The Lakers' medical staff is being appropriately cautious, making sure they get this right. And that's exactly the approach they should be taking when Ayton does return. And again, Coach Redick expects that to be within the next week. The Lakers will be back to full strength in their frontcourt. The pick-and-roll game with Luka will resume, the interior defense will be solidified, and the Lakers will have their complete arsenal available as they navigate the challenging Western Conference schedule. This is a team with legitimate playoff aspirations, with the talent and coaching to compete with anyone. And having Ayton healthy is a critical component of realizing those goals. I also want to acknowledge the positive way that J.J. Redick has handled communication about this injury. In the past, we've seen teams be unnecessarily secretive about injury information, leaving fans in the dark and speculation running wild. Redick has been transparent, providing clear updates about Ayton's condition and the expected timeline for his return. That transparency builds trust with the fan base and eliminates the kind of uncertainty that can become a distraction as we move forward through the season. The key will be managing Ayton's workload intelligently. The Lakers need him healthy for the long haul, which means being smart about minutes, about back-to-backs, about giving him rest when appropriate. The regular season is important, but it's ultimately about positioning yourself for the playoffs and having your key players healthy and fresh when the games matter most. Ayton's minutes and usage should be managed with that long-term perspective in mind. So here's my bottom line analysis of this situation. The Deandre Ayton injury could have been much worse. We dodged a major bullet here. The MRI results were as positive as we could have hoped for, given that he had to leave a game with a knee issue. No structural damage, just swelling and bruising that will heal quickly with proper treatment and rest. Coach Redick expects him back within a week, which means we're talking about missing maybe 3 or 4 games at most. That's manageable. That's something this Lakers team can navigate, especially with Jackson Hayes showing he can provide solid minutes in Ayton's absence. The bigger picture remains bright for this Lakers team. When healthy, they have the pieces to compete with anyone in the Western Conference. Ayton has been exactly what they needed in the frontcourt, providing efficient scoring, rebounding, and a physical presence that makes everything easier for everyone else. Getting him back healthy and ready to contribute is crucial. But based on everything we're hearing from the coaching staff and the medical reports, that's exactly what's going to happen. Now I want to hear from you, Lakers Nation. How do you feel about this Deandre Ayton injury update? Does it ease your concerns knowing it's just swelling and bruising with no structural damage? How important do you think Ayton is to this team's championship aspirations? And what did you think of Jackson Hayes stepping up against the Clippers? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because I love hearing from this community, and your perspectives always add valuable insight to these discussions. If you found this update valuable, if you appreciate getting the latest news and analysis about your Lakers delivered in a clear and straightforward way, do me a solid and hit that like button. It helps this content reach more Lakers fans. It supports the channel. And it lets me know you're enjoying what we're building here at Lakers News Fan Report. And if you're not already subscribed, what are you waiting for? Smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. We're covering everything late, from injury news to game analysis, from trade discussions to playoff predictions. This is your home for comprehensive Lakers coverage, and I want you to be part of this growing community. Share this video with your fellow Lakers fans who might be worried about Ayton's status. Let's spread accurate information and keep everyone in Lakers Nation informed about what's really happening with our team. The more we grow this community, the better the discussions become and the more impact we can have as a collective fan base. I'll be back with more updates as we get closer to Ayton's return, and you can bet I'll be breaking down his first game back and how he looks after this brief absence. Until then, keep supporting the Lakers, keep believing in this team, and keep coming back to Lakers News Fan Report for all your purple and gold coverage. Let's go, Lakers!